Call to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nikki, would you be so kind as to do the roll call?
I sure will. Mr. Welker.
I am here.
Darcy. Here. And Nikki Miller's here. Danielle. Here. Paige. Here. Brandon.
Here.
Eric.
Here.
And Wally.
Here. Thank you. Well done.
Welcome.
Agenda adjustments for approval. Add to the consent agenda staff employment. Wonderful. For Elizabeth Hagan, special education. So good. I see we have a lot of new hires, so if somebody's been busy, thank you principals and Wally for that. Announcements. Staff end of the year ceremony, June 4th at 2 p.m. at the secondary school commons. Comment, or that's all we need?
Just wanted to make everybody aware. It's our leadership team does a nice job putting on an end of the year gathering for our staff. So,
I'm always there. You'll see me there.
All right. Then we have graduation. Are you graduating?
Yes.
Excellent. Well done. Graduation, June 5th at 7 o'clock at the Community Ice Arena. That's a Friday night, correct? And our board members that will be present are Nikki, Paige, and Brandon or Danny. And they will decide later who will be the third one. Very good. Darcy will be there, of course, in the audience because she can't handle it, being up there with her own daughter. We understand, Darcy.
I'll be crying.
I know, you don't want to be crying up there. Do we have any community input? That's not a bad thing. All right. Student board member report. Simona.
So earlier this month, we started with testing. So we had ACTs, fast bridges, and MCAs. And then more recently, we have been doing some more volunteer opportunities. So we had RILA, which is like a leadership overnight camp, highway cleanup this past weekend, and Wayfair, which is like packaging food. And then kind of to wrap up the year, we've been electing new board members for all our clubs like Interact and Rotary, and even the new Link leaders next year. And then this week, we had our scholarship banquet on Monday. Spring sports are ending with playoffs and everything. And then the seniors last week is next week, so we have some fun dress-up days and activities for that. And then finally, graduation.
Excellent.
Great job. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you
for doing that all year.
This might be your last meeting.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Well done this year. Much appreciated. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Board member reports. Darcy.
I have nothing to report.
All right. Nikki.
I'll just give a quick recap on our recent health and safety meeting. We reviewed the OSHA 300 employee injury reports. I don't think there was a follow-up really left with that one slip and fall, but I think there was just 2 reports, if I remember right. Is that right, Teresa? I think it was just 2 reports, and one was still getting a follow-up on. Our cardiac emergency response plan is getting updated and probably completed. We'll have a first read tonight, and Lauren is here graciously to answer any questions with our first read. That will be later in the meeting. We have some AED location updates. I don't have the map, but maybe I'll let you segue to that with your report, Pat. We discussed hazardous waste. We're holding, I think, is that correct, Wally? We're waiting on that?
Yes.
For now.
But we do have a plan.
We have a plan,
Yep.
and University of Minnesota also has an option for us if we need to use that option. Again, we reviewed we discussed a roundtable about workplace safety suggestions and concerns in regard to the new Hep B updates that were given out to all staff. I believe that is complete now.
That is complete.
Which is great. Noise testing was completed for staff April 17th. And that was about it for that. So we'll let Lauren discuss the SERP stuff later, and we'll have Pat discuss the new AED maps for the locations for the 2 added AEDs that are coming.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Nikki. Danny?
Nothing to report.
Paige?
Yes, the continuing ed committee met to, and Jacob can add to or tell me if I'm wrong, but we met to get all the teachers' CUs in, and we have a timeline of when everything's expected to be finalized. So Friday, June 26th is the final day to submit teacher license renewal paperwork to the state. And I think we're okay on this. Mm-hmm. So we're good.
shape.
And then the district-wide staff development, and this is from Amanda Nicolotti, just asked me to tell everyone here that there was a 3-year rotation for relicensure PD. We supported Wally with the development of the 27-28 calendar, and mostly planned out our PD calendar for next year, along with the Welcome Back Week. Coordinated with Lauren Dodson on the medical training needs. We emailed out monthly newsletters in collaboration with Oversight to share the upcoming PD training protocols and the PD opportunities. And we've worked hard to keep within our budget, doing research and having difficult conversations about PD to pursue versus PD we may need to hold off on for now. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon?
Nothing to report.
Eric?
I just want to put a plug in for First Supply. They were our plumbing wholesaler that we used for the bathroom projects, and they donated 20 toilets to us.
Well,
And I'm not sure that I ever remember seeing or hearing anything about that. So I'm sure it was with no malice that Weezer hid that from us, but I just wanted that on the record that that's a lot of porcelain that we didn't have to pay for.
Yes,
Wonderful.
it is.
And it pays to shop local sometimes.
oh, very well put. Please make sure that's in the notes, 20 toilets. That is
20
actually kind of a
toilets.
neat deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, HVED, we just concluded negotiations with the non-certified unit, and we did a 2-year contract totaling 9%. 4.75% of that was steps and lanes alone. So I felt like we did a pretty good job keeping costs as low as we could. There's been a little change up with the bookkeeping service that HVED uses. It's also the same bookkeeping service that we use here in our district. So we talked about that and decided we weren't going to go out and start looking for new providers or anything like that. The new company will just honor the same contract that we have now. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. I have no updates, so we will move on to the administrative reports. The high school principal, otherwise known as Jacob.
So seniors are at 6 days, which is a very interesting world. This is very much the time of year where we start feeling like we have 2 different high schools. We have the ones that the seniors live in, and we have the ones for everyone else, which is always an interesting time of year. But they are very focused on everything that comes after, whereas everyone else is focused on, I got finals coming up. So you get a very different feel in the high school, but that's okay. We had the award ceremony on Monday, as Simona mentioned. Just a few quick shout outs. Lennis Kramer, I didn't put in my board report, but she was there taking pictures of everything. And she's done that at a few different functions for us. Just donates her time. She likes taking pictures and she likes being there. So she combines the two and does a fantastic job. So big shout out to her and a thank you to her. We gave away, I don't have the exact amount, but over $100,000 to our students, which is always awesome to see that they're getting that much money from local scholarships and other scholarships. So that's great to see. We also kind of wrap that up with a, we spend the whole program, hour and 25 minutes focusing on students, and then they wanted to do a shout out to our teachers as well. So each grade gets to vote for who they feel is the most outstanding in their grade. So congratulations to this year's winners, Isaac Bucher, Steve Johnston, Amber Siebel, and Ben Coots. The big piece kind of coming up is obviously graduation. We have that kind of on Friday, June 5th. We practice on the 4th, so we get to go through that, and then seniors get to have the elementary walkthrough before that, and then they do a banquet afterwards. So they have a very busy Thursday, and then the ceremony is on Friday. Everyone else, they go right up through that Thursday with classes. We split it into kind of odd class periods and even class periods. So we can make those class periods longer. We can also have a more extended break between them. The reason we do that is try and make it a little bit easier for our students. They don't have 7 finals in one day. Also to allow teachers to have that extra time, because there really isn't time for you to finish later, right? I mean, that's the one downside of heading into summer. You got to be done. So we have that extra time. And the interesting trend is with AI becoming more and more prevalent, teachers are feeling the need to assess in class in front of them. So we've seen a resurgence in the final exam over the last year and a half. So I would say we're at probably 75% of our teachers give a paper and pencil final exam. And that is a definite shift from 3 to 4 years ago. So, and then as we look towards summer, just kind of reflecting back, it's been a very busy time, of course, throughout the whole building. List a few of the things we're focusing in on. One of the big things we're planning on focusing in on next year is that focus on learning. Just mentioned AI a little bit. There are some wonderful uses for AI. We want to make sure it's not replacing learning. So getting students to try and understand that it has a purpose, yes. But if you're replacing all the stuff that you're supposed to be doing, that's only going to hurt you a lot. So we're going to spend a lot of time focusing on that this summer and into next year. So, but that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Jacob? Okay.
Thank you, Jacob.
Well, how about that middle school?
As Simona mentioned, and Mr. Feldman, we have just completed our spring testing season. At the middle school, we had all of our MCA, reading and math, all of our students take. Our science is just 5th and 8th grade. And then every student again takes that 3rd progress monitoring of FastBridge. And by the time they get to the FastBridge, our teachers are bribing and begging and pleading, because, as you know, we continue to focus on that individual student growth in our district, as opposed to just the MCAs in terms of that piece. Although I think this year there was really some intentional efforts to prep our kids for the MCAs, take their time, all of those things that they do normally. But I feel like we were, with the new model, I know that our staff were specific in looking at what the state puts out for us to help prepare kids. So that's good. But the fatigue is real. I had to put that in there. But we did have a few students that were like, okay, forget, I'm done, and we had to ask them to try again so that we had an accurate assessment of their growth over the year. But we also, every spring, we have Winona State students come and do clinicals. And there's 9 students this year that are spread across the middle school. They're a tremendous help in those classes, and what a great experience and partnership that we have with them. And it's been a treat to have them in the building and work with our staff. And I'm grateful that our staff is willing at this time of year to host and still give that extra energy to them to have a quality experience for them as well. On our staff development day on May 1st, we spent, since half of my staff finalized their letters training, the other half worked on just kind of a once-over of our kind of a reboot of our strategic plan. Took a look at our current work that we did this year, gave feedback as well as proposed some ideas for our built to look at this summer prior to the next school year. But a big piece is on literacy, our curriculum cycle that we're going to be implementing that Paige referenced, and a lot of good things there that are really academic focused, as you would expect. We also spent some time sharing highlights from the year in terms of individual growth plans from our staff that were with me that day, and then talked about sort of what they were looking at individually for next year. PBIS, Leslie, as I told you last year, Pellinger, our leader of our PBIS program, had showcased our PBIS and sustainability to some schools across southern Minnesota. An update to that is that she was asked to present at the Summer Institute because she did such a nice job with her presentation, and I was not surprised. She could be the face of PBIS, and I just made sure that they're not trying to steal her away from us as well. So she's well aware of that fact. So anything new that comes up, I have to say, back off. So then we had a community engagement night, evening with the Lancers. We had a lot of littles out here, thanks to those of you who were able to come. And it was great. It was our second annual, and our staff just really embraced it, really helped out getting things set up. Face painting, we're going to have probably 3 tables next year set up for face painting because kids and staff alike, it was great. They did a great job. But lots of things going on throughout the night. And it really was a nice night to meet more of the 4th grade families. Leading into my last bullet point in my report, we intentionally hold our 4th grade transition meeting for parents. We had a huge group, like triple last year. So myself and Miss Freeman did tours with probably, 45, I don't know, lots of people. So, but they were just grateful to be in, kind of see the space. Some were returning parents, but a lot new to middle school parents. And just an opportunity too for their students to come and see the building again, one more time after they had visited in late April, to really experience the lunch line, hear about the expectations, some of those pieces too. So what a great group of littles coming in. And finally, I did not include this in my written report, but just wanted to share that if I had another bullet point, it would be that discipline has ticked up this year, I think, compared to last. And I think we also are seeing some of our kids that normally move into those summer months or longer lengths of time away from us and less structure, hurting a little bit more. So some of my staff and I have been working really, spending a lot more time with some of our kids that need more mental health support at this time of year, as well as those kids that, to parents sometimes sounds like a minor behavior, but have been reminded 1,800 times, what the expectations are for PBIS that might, have a consequence at this time. So it's a little tough, making some of those phone calls like they sprinted down the hallway the opposite direction with about 250 other kids going in the right direction, weaving in and out. So they're going to serve at lunch detention, stuff like that. But it's that time of year where I think, we're at that point. I just really appreciate the support staff, for all their hard work and what they do each and every day, because it's not easy to hold. It was helpful when it was raining and cloudy for a few days. So we're just holding on tight to keep structure and learning happening the next week. And then we have some really fun things planned for our final week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Elementary school update.
It's been a couple days since we put on this, but I wanted to bring your attention to the ongoing work that's happening in MTSS. Those are hot links if you want to refresh on what those acronyms mean. A huge thank you to the Board of Education, Wally Genevico, for supporting the core resource. It's called CKLA. It's by a company called Amplify. It just arrived yesterday. I've got some very excited staff that are unpacking those things and inventorying those things and are just hungry to get started and get learning the new core resource, because I think that's going to be a game changer for us. So a heartfelt thank you from all the staff that did all that work. They're overjoyed at unpacking those resources. Family and community engagement is highlighted here. Fourth grade attended the evening with the Lancers. I, for some reason, missed that. I should have been there, but I missed it. My family walked around the school right when it was done. So thank you for doing that. It's nice to have our buildings connected. Our PBIS team had a fundraiser night at Pizza Ranch, and that raised over $600 that helps our PBIS programming. Huge thank you to everyone that made that work because of all their volunteer hours. Keeping this in front of you, this is new, and we want it to be the worst kept secret around. It's Step Into Learning. It replaces the first 2 school days at the elementary school with teacher conferences, and those are going to be scheduled by the teachers. They'll reach out on July 31st at 2 p.m. with a email blast, so everyone gets their placement and their welcome letters at the same time, and then signs up for times to come and do a 30-minute, very meaningful conference. The process is going to be designed and is currently being designed by our staff. So that's hard work that's happening to make that a success. And thank you to Wally for your vision and helping that become a reality. We're excited about making back to school a meaningful time rather than kind of a blitz that just kind of overwhelms everyone. Some things to highlight here as I pass the baton, and a heartfelt welcome to Mrs. Casilius, who's with us tonight. I want to highlight some of the traditions that I'm going to be passing along, and for everyone to be aware that we have a part of our school is a tradition that to have a lyceum or a guest artist or event or musician. We hosted the Finley River Boys that are partially sponsored by Southeast Minnesota Bluegrass, but also sponsored by the Karen Olson Fund. And Gene Olson made a bequest on behalf of his wife, who was a 30-plus year office employee in the main office at the elementary back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I put that on there just to pass that history along, because that's a really nice fund that provides some entertainment and artistry for the children, along with an ice cream treat that'll be happening next week. So with that, you've got your PBIS year-end report, which was largely written by our on-staff coach, Emily Sebo, and just highlights some data points that we wanted to put out there that are continuing to have us be exemplary and keep that going. So also highlighting the book vending machine that was in use just yesterday while he came by to visit, and I had a little helper with me that helped unpack 3,000 pounds of CKLA, and he earned himself a book. And I think that's it.
He was excited.
Yes,
Thank
he
you.
was. He was.
Thank you, Jeff.
You
Any
betcha.
questions? All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet.
Community ed.
All right, well, it's crazy times getting ready for summer for us. What we have happening right now is we have our posting for our 3K position open right now. It will close on Friday, so we hope to be doing interviews in the next couple of weeks. We have almost finished hiring all of our summer rec and kids company staff for summer, and I wanted to do a shout out to Stephanie Pierce for we got to use some of my new staff as her guinea pigs for using the Frontline online employment paperwork instead of the old school handing back and forth the paper copies. So that was really exciting.
Making progress.
Is exciting.
Making progress.
Yes. So we are very excited about it. Anyway, last Tuesday, I took the La Crescent Fire Department through a walkthrough of the elementary school. They have twice monthly training drills that they do, and they've got a lot of new firefighters on the department, so they wanted to make sure everyone was very familiar with the building itself and our procedures and practices. So I shared all of our internal practices so they were familiar with how things operate for holds, for medical holds or an emergency situation, and they were grateful to have had the time to go through. And even better when they check the building's Knox box and everything that's supposed to be there is there and it works, and gotta love that. So emergency preparedness is important. So thanks to them for coming by. Last Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays ago, I'm losing track of my days here, but Assistant Commissioner Bobby Burnham from the state of Minnesota, Minnesota Department of Ed, came down, and we were able to give her a tour of the elementary school, and she took her time walking through our early childhood programming, and we got to share with her how we seamlessly breed our school readiness, early childhood special ed, and Head Start programs together, both programmatically and financially. And that was a really special time. Then Mr. Kopp and Mr. Jevico got to talk to her about finishing up the letters training and adoption of CKLA curriculum, and of course had to mention it would be a lot easier to do these things with more money. So they did an excellent job advocating for the district. And budgeting season is upon us, and Teresa, you can go down to the pictures, but so there's Commissioner Burnham seeing on the right side, she's looking at the butterflies that are just hatching, getting a tour there. Everybody wanted to see it at the same time, but she had a good time touring the program.
Thank you, Beth.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Okay. Pat?
Well, with the prelude that I got from Nikki, we'll start with the AEDs. AEDs, we got the cabinets. We still have to mount them. The first one's probably going to be mounted in the softball concession stand. The second one, we finally, I think, came up with the decision to mount it on the fence outside the press box. We got to come up with a solution on how we're going to mount it, but that will be mounted on the fence so it's easily accessible for the community. The second one is we found the pictures, the graduation pictures that dated back to 1988. They go to 2016. We're going to work on getting them up, definitely by all-class reunion. It was at July 17th, I believe. We're going to try to get them up as soon as possible, but we just, if you can see on my board report, we just got 2 more people hired, so we're still about 2 short, but that's that part. We'll get them up. Going on to the board report, if you walk out the back door, you take a look left, you see temporary walls. They have started the demo. They have some supports up, and I think they're going to start getting the walls down, hopefully, they said by the end of the week, so that's great. We met with Michael's Energy on Thursday. We basically just went through all the HVAC units, lights, ways we can, reduce energy, and all that goes with that. The district was awarded a security grant, and we are allocating that toward our video surveillance system. So we have a lot of cameras that are really outdated, but they're still functioning. We just want to upgrade those to today's technology, which is IP. And then lastly, as I mentioned before, the custodial team is welcoming Jared Nightingale, who was previously a paraprofessional at the elementary. And then Donald Strittmatter, who's a .4, about 16 hours a week. He'll be working between both buildings, trying to help out where needed. So, and that would be it.
Thank you, Pat.
Paige has a question.
I was just wondering about the status of the steps, where the railing is in the parking lot.
So I got an email back last week. They are still working with their project management team on what solution they can come up with. I think for now they're talking about coming up with a different way of mounting, but they're still working through the process. So it is on their agenda.
Mr. Hughes has kept up on the 2 issues that we brought in the winter, the cracks in the parking lot, and then obviously the pieces of concrete breaking off on our stairs. So thank you.
Any other questions for Pat?
Thank you, Pat.
All right, thank you. Activities director is over at the baseball game, so his report is posted for everyone's review. And move on to Wally.
So nationally, a couple weeks ago, they actually call it Teacher Appreciation Week. I was very happy to see that our district, even before I got here, it became more inclusive and called it Staff Appreciation. I had a couple board members reach out to me and just say, Wally, you're doing things for staff appreciation, and I wanted to let you know that I thought our leadership team did a great job that week of doing some fun things with the staff, along with some serious things to let them know, how important their work is in public education and how much they are appreciated. I get to see all the emails that go out, and I get to see all the fun things that they did with the dress-up days and the lunches and the little treats and everything like that. And so I feel like our leadership team did a nice job of trying to make our staff feel as appreciated as possible that week. For the strategic plan, if we look at the 3 academic things that we really added, it was in 3 areas, and it was in curricular alignment, ELA, and math. Focus on those 3 areas. I just want to say our oversight committee has really worked hard all year in trying to set up a professional development plan for 26-27 that makes sense, that goes in the correct order, so that our staff do not feel overwhelmed. And when you think about curricular alignment, you should be talking really with people within your groups. You should be talking. Let's just take social studies. You should be talking to people that are within social studies, and then you should be also talking to people that are below and above you in our system. And it's not. I'm not going to say complicated, but it does take a lot of thought to really put in a good plan that makes sense where our staff's not going to get overwhelmed. And I thought that our oversight group has done a really nice job in getting ready for 26-27. So I wanted to make sure that I recognize them. The ELA and the math update, and that's the other 2 areas that we're looking at as a focus academically within our strategic plan. So we've got our elementary that is now working with our CKLA materials. We're going to try to leave elementary alone for about 2 years with ELA, because that's a big chunk to bite off and work through. And then in year 3, I think, and I'll get to math in a second, but I think in year 3 that will make sense now that the elementary now starts to look at mathematics. And when I think about the order that we're going to go in with math, we're going to actually start at the middle school level. This next year, our middle school math teachers, and Ms. Fitzloff and Mr. Feldman has a background in math. We're going to be looking at what is out there for math curriculum, math materials, things that match up with the standards in the state of Minnesota. And hopefully then for 27-28, have a recommendation or a plan put in for middle school. And then I look at middle school really being able to connect now, move down to elementary, so that ends up being pretty seamless as far as the standards go. And also, at least with algebra and geometry, that whatever we're doing in the middle school then also works into at least algebra and geometry. You start getting a little higher than geometry, your algebra 2, your pre-calc, your calculus, it's a little bit different animal. But really, as far as the standards go, for example, with 7th and 8th grade math, what you're teaching there that leads into Algebra 1, which is one of the absolute most important math topics, it's important that we're kind of all on the same page that way. So we'll start at the middle school level with mathematics, and then I would say we're looking at elementary 26-27, 27-28, being really focused on ELA. So then 28-29 would be the year then that we would ask the elementary, then hopefully feeling more comfortable with the ELA, to start looking at our mathematics. So that is kind of the long-range plan academically there. Ms. Steed did a great job talking about Ms. Burnham's visit, so I don't need to add anything to that. And actually, Mr. Hughes talked about the energy audit. Now remember, that does not cost the district a penny. We got a grant for that. So all of this, that's Michael's Energy. Anything you see with Michael's Energy and Excel that are looking at everything within our district that is energy related, to give us recommendations how to be more efficient and obviously how to save money, as we go, that's not costing us anything. That's all under the efficiency and energy grant that we received. But that kicked off, as Patrick said, last Thursday morning. And that should be completed, so we don't spill into another fiscal year. That should be completed by the end of June. There, you look at Julie and Stephanie as far as the solar goes, our $125,000 solar grant. That one's a little bit trickier because it's over 2 fiscal periods, but both Dana and Julie have been in touch with the Department of Commerce, who gave us that $125,000 grant about what they need in June and then what they need starting in July. We then have gone to Solar Connect and Matthew, and this isn't their first rodeo, so they understand with their paperwork how important that is, so that we're submitting that then back to the Department of Commerce to get our reimbursement for that. But I think all of that is exciting. And that is all I have for tonight.
Any questions for Wally?
Did they have like an estimate of when the solar project's going to be installed? Or?
I did not get an end date. You haven't heard anything about an end date, have you? But I know that most of the physical boots on the ground and labor is going to start in July for that particular project. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep, and I might as well, this is as good a time as any to just, as long as Julie's not here tonight, I know we're going to finance director, but just to talk again about revised budget number 2, finance committee meeting, and then projected budget for 27-28. So you will all be receiving an email by May 29th with the initial figures for revised budget number 2 and budget for 26-27. Then our 3 finance members, that'll be June 3rd. So you can send your questions to the 3 board members for the finance meeting on June 3rd. That'll be with Julie to review that more in depth. And then the board meeting on February 17th is when we would look to approve revised budget number 2 and then budget FY 27. So May 29th information, June 3rd finance meeting, which is open to the public, and June 17th board meeting.
Any questions? All right. No finance director this evening, so we'll skip that one for now then, and then we will go to, Education Minnesota. Valerie.
Again, lots of great positive things. Mr. Chapman and Mr. Hansen do a fantastic job with our band program. So if you flip through, there's so many great things that the band has done over the course of this year. So they just put several different photos in to showcase them. And the great music that they have and all the fun activities that they get to go and do in Florida. And I think there's even a picture of Mr. Chapman's baby in there somewhere. So they got to welcome a new band member. They're there. That's little dancing. And then next, another great thing to highlight, maybe you've seen online, Mr. Lurkey has had so many students that are so excited to come to the conservation crew. And there was just an article in the River Current. They did a really great article about all of the great things that Travis just puts so much time into everything and loves being outside. So the kids just have so much fun. And so if you find that article online, it was really well written and just really highlights how much the kids just really love making birdhouses and pulling invasive species out of Fetch Park and finding frogs and what have you. So next up we have for AP Psych, there was a happiness challenge, so very fitting for Mental Health Awareness Month. They went over a lot of the mental health disorders, and that can be very heavy. So they did a lot of daily activities or challenges, and they did some during class. And then for the elementary school, a lot of showcasing for outdoor activities. And when they can't be outside, they like to be inside and just keeping the kids busy, entertained, and yeah. A lot of students, they showcase like doing gardening, and the kindergarten went to the Turbo to see a play. And I think this was, yep, they got to see baby chicks. So there's a lot of chicks hatching in this school and at the elementary building. And then next up for first grade, just more pictures of our little Lancers, and they're starting their A to Z countdown. More pictures. And again, some more outdoor activities and working with 2D, 3D shapes for math, for geometry. And for second grade, they did a lot of concerts, STEM activities. And there's some of the chicks that Mrs. Sebo was able to hatch for her class. And I thought this was cool. Miss Thompson, she always does so many great things at the elementary, along with a lot of other staff members. But the students made Lancer like shields that you may have seen around town, working with fractions with the project, and again highlighting the spring time. And the students reading in the library, some more concert highlights, and the lovely students of the month. And we got Carrie Russert as the staff of the month, very well deserved. I heard that she's still teaching summer school.
Yes.
As she's retiring
Yes.
this year. So good for her. And then like Jeff highlighted, the PTO with the vending machine. I've seen that and I think it's amazing. Main theme is teamwork. And then I think the next slide was the step into learning, which Jeff also talked about. So the dates are September 1st and September 2nd, and KidsCo will not be available those days. And finally, for high school, there was an environmental science upcycle project where they were able to turn trash into treasure. And finally, I would like to thank all of you. I've been in this vice president position for a teacher union for 2 years, and I've decided to step down. So this will be my last meeting here. And next school year, you guys, well, starting in July, I think, there'll be someone, they're still figuring out who's going to replace, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we approved you leaving. Fine. Any questions? Well done, as always.
Yes.
All right. Review informational items. I guess we can pull them up quick and see if there's any questions one by one, or is that just too? Well,
I wouldn't do the budget.
let's skip the budget one. Balance sheet. There's never any questions on the balance sheet. Enrollment. People like enrollment. Okay.
All right.
All right.
We do have a policy to review.
Yes, we do. Yep. Hang on. Hang on. Student behavior. People like that one too.
Not this time of year.
Not this time of year.
Well, it's been.
Oh, look at middle school. My goodness.
Okay, I already prefaced it.
I think she prepped.
Yeah, we'll just skip by
I
that
think she
one.
prepped
All
you
right.
for that.
Okay. All right. All right. And then we have policy review and update, first reading of the CERT plan. Is there any questions on the first reading? Okay. Lauren? That's a whole lot of work that goes into that. So thank you very much for putting that out there. And there's no questions so far, but we know everything that goes into that. So thank you. Wally had something to say too.
Yeah, I also know this is a tremendous amount of work, so I'm very appreciative. And what I wanted to ask is, between our first reading now, they've had the ability to see this. We're going to ask them to approve it in our second reading in June. Can they reach out to you through school email with any questions that they would have on the CERT plan?
Absolutely.
Okay. And again, it's appreciate all the work that you put in through the year period with your job, but then for our safety committee, and then this is this is a monster, so thank you.
I would love to hear Lauren just maybe do a brief overview of what that entailed so that people that don't understand what's involved in a plan like that and all the training and thought behind all of it would be great if you don't mind.
Well, MDE made it fairly simple because they came out with their plan, their model plan. So it was just, going through that and making sure it fit our school and our community and things like that. So that part was easy, but then the big part comes with actually going through with what the plan says. So, we kind of had a head start because we have the medical emergency response team already in place. And so that was really easy for all of those individuals on that team to also adopt the role of cardiac emergency response team. But a lot of training goes into that, whether it's CPR during the summer or back to school week during doing trainings with staff. Like this year, we'll add on hands-only CPR and AED training for all staff. That'll happen during back to school week, and then our teams do a drill that is pretty much a full day of going through the plan, making sure everyone's trained, running through the drills, debriefing, all of that stuff. AEDs, I manage that throughout every school year. So we have 8 in the district, so making sure those are all up to date and everything with that, as well as the 2 new AEDs, we're with those. Just more, I could keep going, but it's just it's a lot of coordinating, and I really want to thank district-wide staff development and letting me come and unload on them and all the things that I need for the next school year and continuing on. I asked a lot of them, so it was really nice that they were very accommodating for me to make sure that everyone's trained appropriately and we're in the best shape to keep our school safe and healthy. So
thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to our consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second. I'm going to give that to Danny. So, move to approve by Darcy, seconded by Danny. Is there any comments, questions? You were all busy hiring there, it looks like. Well done. Some of these are, I'm going to assume, rather difficult positions to find. And so.
It was a good month for some of those tough to find positions, yes.
Are we looking full?
We're getting there.
Getting there. Okay. All right.
No other donations, but we should get a thank you out to
Absolutely.
Yes.
Toilets.
Yes. Very good point.
I'm going to make a phone call too. So.
I wonder.
Big deal.
How long has Frank been here for?
26 years.
How many?
26 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I met Frank in 1984 at WWTC, and we used to drink at Howie's Hofbrau.
Just before I was even.
I've known him for me. Yes. Anyway, he's been a good guy, wonderful guy. So we wish him well in retirement. Just know him personally. All right. Hearing no more discussion, all in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes. Moving on to action items. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to stop me.
We have one of our new hires as of 10 seconds ago.
There she is.
Here tonight. So Emily Casillas is coming to us with a very impressive background, most recently in Winona Public Schools, and she is here tonight, and she will be, as of July 1st, taking the baton from Mr. Kopp, and she is gracious enough to be here tonight, and I'll go ahead and turn things over to her.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to joining the Lancer community. I have 25 years experience in education, most of those in Winona, not all. 8 of those as an elementary principal, and prior to that, an elementary school teacher. So literacy is a passion of mine. I'm so excited to be coming in at a time where you have a phenomenal resource that will be in the teacher's hands, which is great. I'm looking forward to supporting that implementation and just helping that growth in literacy instruction. That's something that all districts, I think, are growing in right now, is we're making sure we're using best practices and best research in that. So I just thank you. I've already felt very warmly welcome to the community. I'm looking forward to joining this team and serving your community.
Excited to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that subtle prompt on the. All right. Now back to the action item. On June 17th work session from 5:15 to 5:45, potential roof project.
So I'd like you to consider having a work session before our board meeting on June 17th for half an hour. I'd like to invite Ellers and ISG here. There's new legislation that goes into effect July 1st of this year, and it's in relation to paying for roof or roofs, depending on where the district is at. So Patrick and I met about a year ago with a company that did look at all of our roofs in the whole district, and there is 2 pieces. They're connected, but there are 2 pieces to the secondary roof that they recommended should be replaced within the next 3 to 4 years. Well, you know how tight our budgets are, and you know that roofs are not cheap. And because roofs have really dinged a lot of districts' bottom line, that's why the legislature has come up with an opportunity of a different way to pay for roofs. So I would like the experts to come in. It would be an open session, open to the public. All of the board members, though, could be there because we're calling it a work session, and they would be able to explain the legislation. They would be able to explain the financial pieces of that, and I would welcome that if you would consider us having a half an hour work session before the board meeting.
Yeah, I move to approve.
Second.
Nikki moves to approve and Brandon seconded. Any discussion on that?
Do we know if these roof sections are under warranty or anything?
I believe they are.
And do we know who's keeping track of all the warranties on the roofs?
I have some warranties information in my office. There's also some at the district office, I do believe. I believe there should be 2, I think, in both buildings, so.
Any other?
Mr. Marco, we can definitely look at that previous to the work session. Okay.
Is Julie able to be present?
She will be present on June 17th. Yes. Yeah. I have to think for a second, but yes.
Any other questions on June 17th work session? Okay. All those in favor of the June 17th work session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by Darcy, seconded by Nikki. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned. Darcy has made some tasty treats behind us here.
Looks great.
She's
Yeah.
spoiled.
Supposedly homemade.
It was very good. It was warm an hour ago.
So you baked today, actually.